love only what falls your way and is fated for you. What could suit you better than that?
That is, I love that.
Yeah, don't you?
That is brilliant. I
yeah.
just think that speaks volumes because it's kind of, I think so much of the time we beat our head against the wall to try and get something, whether it's like the girl that you really like or whether it's the role you really like or whatever. And at some point you just got to say, well, it's actually just like, it's not working. It's not falling into place. It's just not falling into place.
Yeah.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Right.
And like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
That's what it is.
Welcome to Rejection Rehab, the only podcast out there specifically designed to help you get over the fear of rejection and to build lasting confidence. Each week I interview a dazzling new human being who's gone through their fair share of rejection, but overcome it and built lasting confidence. This week it gives me enormous pleasure to introduce you to someone who's in one of the industries with the highest rates of rejection in the world. He is a true triple threat, a singer, an actor, a dancer. He's been on Hulu in Only Murderers in the Building. He's been on Netflix. He's been on Amazon Prime Video. He's been on HBO. He's been on Broadway in Take Me Out, which I've actually seen with my mother, where I actually did see his penis. That's a story for another time. He is the best karaokeer I know, which I'm very jealous of. He was at Brown with me for undergraduate. He is a graduate of the Tisch MFA program at NYU. But most importantly, he's one of my best friends. Julian Cihi, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. It's good to be here.
So good to have you here.
Yeah, man.
And I want to say a big thank you because you literally just got off a plane from Japan, super jet lagged, and you are such a champ. I want to dive right into rejection. So
let's do it.
You're an actor, singer, dancer. I recently read that...
I love how you always say dancer when I'm not a dancer.
Dude, you are a dancer. And do you know how I know this?
How do you know this?
You choreographed our fraternity dance.
I did.
When we had to do it in front of the brothers.
I did.
And if you are not a dancer, then I don't know what a dancer is because you are so good at it. Like, you are absolutely incredible.
I had a great time doing that. All I did was watch the video of Old School, right?
Yeah, but if I watched that, I wouldn't know how to choreograph everyone.
That's true. That's true. I told myself this is my moment to shine within this fraternity.
And shine you did. It was the dance to it was like everybody dance now. Okay, I'm not going to do it, but like Julian was phenomenal at it. So in my mind, he is a singer, actor, and dancer. But getting to the subject of rejection and the fact that actors, they face some of the highest rates of rejection in the world. I recently read that somewhere between 90 to 95%, or even up to sometimes 99% of people who go in for an audition get rejected. How hard is it to get rejected again and again and again? And does it get easier over time?
It definitely gets easier over time. Yeah. It is very hard in the beginning. Like with anything, right? Like when you're younger, you want to be liked, you want to be accepted, and it sucks when you get rejected. You go in for a job, you're excited, and then you don't get it. You don't see your name on the list. It's heartbreking.
But how do you like go back again and again and again and get rejected again and again and again if you don't like it? Like ordinarily you'd think, well, this doesn't make me feel good. Yeah. How come you keep coming back for more?
Well, every time, usually it's like it's a different role, right? It's a different production. It's a different director. So at least it's not, there's some variety there, and then there's always hope, right? That this could be the one. So
even though the odds are stacked against you massively.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that like less than 1% of actors, professional actors who have their SAG cards or equity cards or whatever are employed. So 99 point whatever % are unemployed, right? Like, so when you think about that, it is a pretty tough industry to even get a job, right? And I hear dancers are even harder.
Wow.
Right? So but that's how it is. And so at some point you just have to accept that and then find ways for yourself to make the most of the audition process experience.
And has it got better over time? I mean, you've been in the industry for probably over a decade. And
Yeah. I mean, not that long compared to a lot of actors who start when they're kids, right? And it's like, you see a lot of these, A-listers, and a lot of them started when they were kids, right? So they have that experience. It's all, I think experience is way more important than, I guess, going to school, or even raw talent, to be honest. So they start from such a young age, so they have all that experience. They've gone to all these auditions, right? And you hear stories of, I don't know, Joaquin Phoenix, not getting a role because Leo DiCaprio got it. Right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So when you hear stories like that, it makes you feel better a little bit.
Yeah. So what do you say to those people out there? Because, I mean, you faced so much rejection in your life because of choosing a career which has one of the highest rates of rejection in the world.
Yeah.
What do you say to people out there in any career or in any aspect of their life who are facing rejection? Because you faced it day in, day out. You're basically a rejection expert at this point. What do you say to people who really fear rejection, who really struggle with it?
Well, I'm sure you've touched on this with previous guests, or I don't know. I don't want to assume that, but like, it's really up to you, right? How you react to rejection. Like, I mean, you don't want to be delusional, but someone's rejection could be another person's learning experience. So if you didn't get a job, I mean, it's objectively, could definitely be objectively be a rejection, right? That you auditioned for a job, you didn't get it, you were rejected. Sure, but if you see it that way, then it becomes that, right? That becomes the reality. But if you just say, okay, well, this one wasn't for me, on to the next one. And I had a lot of great teachers at NYU, one being David Costabile, like he's in Billions. And he had some kind of, like, he had all these great gems, but one was like, it was like a Star Wars reference. It was like, these aren't the droids we're looking for, or something like that, right? I guess if you're a Star Wars person, you would know. But it's like, this role is not for you, right? This isn't the project. So if you start sort of incorporating this, I mean, it's a positive way, right, of looking at rejection, then it becomes easier. And there's another great piece of advice that I got from this legendary director, Kenny Leon. He's worked with Denzel and a lot of legends. He came in and he said something like, you go into an audition room, right? Like you just came from a meeting or a job, right, that you were doing. And you come in and you do your thing, and then you say thank you, and then you get out of there like you're on your way to your next job.
Right? It's like another thing just check off.
Yeah. Just I'm here. I'm going to do my thing. I'm right here. I'm present. Thank you very much. And then, all right,
see myself out.
I'll see myself. I got to go to this thing. So it's so simple, but that's the kind of confidence. That's the kind of confidence that people want to see, and you really do have to fake it till you make it in this industry, because at some point the faking kind of fades away and it becomes real. But in the beginning, when rejection is hard, all that stuff, you kind of do have to fake it.
Yeah. I think one thing I just take away from that is sometimes when you face rejection, it's just because it's just not the right fit. It doesn't mean that you are not phenomenal at whatever it is that you're you are going for, whether it's a job or an acting role, or whether it's even trying to get with a girl you really like or a guy you really like or whatever. It's just, it's nothing wrong with you just weren't the right fit for it, and that's, I think, a really healthy way of looking at it.
Absolutely. The more you do what you do. I mean, of course, experience and all that stuff, but also as an actor, when you work in a production and you sort of see the other side of the curtain, or you work in casting, or you direct, you produce, all that stuff, then you really start to see that there is an art to casting, and there are certain actors that are better suited to play certain roles.
Yeah.
And it's just a fact. So when you see the other side, then it becomes easier as an actor to audition for certain roles, because you'll be like, I can play this role, but I can think of my buddy, right, who's talented, who would probably do better in this role. Like, I would choose him over me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so once that starts to happen, then again, it gets easier.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there's some frustration when you see someone, who's, well, this is like a personal thing for me, right? Because I'm Japanese and I speak Japanese.
Yeah.
From Japan. So, it's been
half Japanese.
Half Japanese, yeah, ethnically. But, there's a difference between growing up in the States, right, and speaking partial Japanese, or your parents spoke it, versus growing up in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Speaking Japanese,
Yeah.
So when I see a role that's like a Japanese speaking role, right, on TV, that's played by someone who obviously, to me, doesn't speak Japanese, that's when it gets frustrating. That's when, but I've made my peace with that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, but that's also part of the industry. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, because it's a business. It's like influencers, or right. So if influencers starting to get cast in shows, and some are talented, of course, but some are not so talented, especially in
You're
Japan.
being so diplomatic.
No, some, like, can't even, it's like, so, but it's a numbers game. And if they bring in the fans, if they bring in the sales, the tickets, then, it's a success for the production side. So you gotta understand that as well. And, it's a journey, but it certainly gets easier. There's this quote that I've been thinking of while thinking of this rejection rehab, right? And it's basically saying what you're saying, which is love only what falls your way and is fated for you. This is by Marcus Aurelius from Meditations, by the way.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great Stoic.
One of the best.
Probably my favorite of the Stoics.
Because what could suit you better than that? And
wait, can you say that one more time? Because say the.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get it exactly right, because I had to look at it this morning again, so I didn't like butcher it. But it's love only what falls your way and is fated for you. What it is fated for you. What could suit you better than that?
That is I love that.
Yeah, don't you?
That is brilliant. Yeah.
And I actually had read that many years ago as like a kid, actually, and I had underlined that. This was before like going to college or anything like that. And then I had recently reread Meditations, and I was just like blown away that like the little kid of me had like already resonated with that line. I mean, there's so many other great things in that book, but
I just think that speaks volumes, because it's kind of, I think so much of the time we beat our head against the wall to try and get something, whether it's like the girl that you really like, or whether it's the role you really like, or whatever. And at some point you just got to say, well, it's actually just like, it's not working. It's not falling into place. It's just not falling into place. The juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Right.
And like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
That's what it is. And it ties, along with like so many other great thoughts, concepts by great writers, like this idea of effortlessness, right? Like you don't want to force things, right? Like when it's effortless, it's beautiful. Whether it's in sports or acting or
relationships,
music, relationships, exactly. That's when it's like you're not forcing it, you're not working, it's just flowing.
Yeah, like a flow state.
Yeah.
I love that because a lot of people say, when I hear them say, oh, relationships, there's so much work, like we really work on our relationship. I'm like, dude, we do enough work in life. And I look at my parents and like my parents have an awesome relationship. They don't work on their relationship. Their relationship just works.
Right.
And I love to see that. And I think they're very lucky. And I do think some people do really have to work on their relationship. But I think the ideal state is that the effortlessness of, a relationship or whatever it is, and it just works itself. You don't have to work at it. We spend our lives working. Good things in life, let it flow.
Yeah, totally. I totally subscribe to that. And it applies to being an actor and the audition process and all that stuff.
And facing
so
rejection.
I don't even consider rejection anymore. I really don't.
That's what we want everyone to get to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Treating it as an experience. I mean, I've said this expression before, rejection is just redirection. And I like that because it's, you may not know why you're getting rejected at that point in time, but later on in life, you'll look back and be like, okay, the reason why I got rejected here was because XYZ. I ended up getting this role, or I ended up meeting this guy, this girl. I ended up getting this job. But you don't know necessarily in the moment. In the interim, you have to be philosophical about it. But I just think, getting to the point where it's no longer feeling like rejection, that is like where you want to get to.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
but you have to face a lot, like you, to get there. Like you can't just do it straight off the bat.
Of course. You have to. There's a lot of heartbreak and all that stuff to get to that point. But once you're there, it's pretty great. You know, like you said, it's not. It applies to everything. Even if it's like a girl that you fancy, as you would say.
It's actually trilingual, so he's Japanese, English, and English, and American English.
And so you fancy a bird, and
I've taught him well.
But then, it's not when it's not returned, then. Then you try to force things, and then it never ends up well, right? But then when you just accept the fact that it's not, if it's not mutual, then, you can force it. And sometimes, I think a lot of times, people do end up getting in relationships, even if it starts out that way. But then inevitably, it's going to end.
Yeah. So
in a sense, it's better if you just thank the whole event that this is not meant for me.
Yeah.
Whether it's a person, job, or whatever. And then you just, you move on. It is a learning experience.
Yeah.
It was only meant to be, some things were only meant to be a learning experience.
Rather than actually getting accepted. I love that. But I do have to ask, I know that you don't see it as rejection now, but do you have like a story of like the worst rejection, whether professional or personal, that you've ever had, and you were like, oh God, that was horrific?
Oh man, great question. The thing that comes to mind right away is, I guess, it was bad because I was accepted initially, and then I was rejected.
Ooh.
So it was even worse than being just rejected from the get, right? So I was cast in an indie film shot in New York about kendo, the
martial art.
Martial art, and a Japanese guy living in New York, doing kendo and falling in love with a girl.
It's literally just your life. Is it a biography? It's just about you.
Right. So I'm like, yeah, I just show up as myself and I get the role.
No acting
right?
required.
It's like effortless. and then like a couple weeks into rehearsals, you know, we even test some scenes, start shooting, and then I get a call from the director saying that like I wasn't Japanese enough, and there were other things that she said, but that was basically the gist of it. And she wrote like a letter and like with a check for like $150 or something like.
Here's your severance.
Very meager check.
Go and get one meal in New York.
And so that was pretty rough. I mean, if you know, we can laugh about it now, totally. But in the moment, that really hurt.
Yeah.
Because, not just because I had a job and then I was fired from it, right? But because I was told by a white lady I wasn't Japanese enough.
Casual racism.
but again, it's like with my experience and frame of reference now, it's like I don't want to say pity, but it's like, well, I'm glad I didn't work on a project where they didn't see that I was Japanese enough for this Japanese role. But yeah, it's that. I mean, it's funny. It's really actually really.
That's
funny
a great story. I can't believe that you
haven't
told me
that. But in the moment, and there are if you talk to actors, there are tons of anecdotes about, well, obviously rejection, but getting the job and then either getting fired from it or getting cut. Like your scenes are cut.
Oh, so like
right?
doing all the work,
yeah,
and then not being in the movie or whatever it is.
Yeah. Totally.
Do you still get paid in that?
You still get paid.
Yeah, but you just get
still
no
get paid,
recognition.
but especially when you're like starting out,
yeah,
it's not about the money, right? Because it's not going to be life-changing money anyway in the beginning. So you want the screen time, and you want the credit, right, on your IMDb.
So you go to the movies with your friends. You're like, I'm in this movie. Then you turn
exactly
movies on.
Like,
and
imagine
I know. Don't worry. Next scene. Oh, come on. And then
it never shows up. Like,
oh my god.
That man. Yeah. To overcome that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot, I think. But
this is what I'm saying. Actors are rejection experts.
Yeah. But,
yeah.
I mean, you do really have to be sociopathic to some extent. Yeah. You know, to keep going.
Yeah. You guys are something else. You're built differently, which is why I think we can learn a huge amount from you. So I just have a couple more questions before we wrap up.
Okay.
You are one of the most confident people I know, and I'm wondering.
You are.
We are. You stop. You're the best. No, you're the best. No, but, so you are a super confident guy, and I think very humble as well. And I'm wondering, where that confidence, comes from. Did it grow over the years? Especially, like, how do you maintain confidence from, 1 minute being, on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime Video, the next minute, you have to wait tables. This is literally like the life of an actor. And, I even went to the Japanese restaurant that you worked at, such a great place. And you've got to do these things. So it's kind of like high highs, low lows. And how do you maintain, consistent confidence throughout?
That is very challenging. It really is, because when you're working, when you're acting, you're in your element, you're making money. It's the best feeling in the world as like an actor. Like, because I really consider myself like an actor. Like, I'm not
definitely a singer and a dancer as well,
and a dancer.
So good.
But let me tell you a quick story about that. Actually, I did a musical where I danced. Right, it was a dance-heavy musical, and originally I actually said I won't do this because I'm not a dancer, right? And so, but my buddy who's playing the lead role, he's like, they'll figure it out, like they'll work around you. So I'm like, okay, that's nice. And then I ended up doing it, and they worked around me, but I ended up dancing more than I thought I would, and thought that they thought I would as well. And I got so many compliments about my dancing.
From should. I'm telling you, you're
from fans and from the dancers.
Yeah.
Like professional dancers, right? So then it was actually a really good learning experience for me, because I had been telling myself all my life, pretty much, that I'm not a dancer. I'm not good at dancing. But again, once you've stated that, that's become your reality.
Mm.
And so now, I say I'm not a trained dancer, right? Like I can't do like pirouettes and all this fancy stuff, but I can move and tell a story through movement, which is what I basically did. But that's dancing. That's a form of dancing. So I would say being mindful of what you say to yourself, right? Because I mean, you're gonna be your worst critic, right? So is very important. What you think and what you say, it on a daily basis, it becomes a habit, right? So if you keep saying I'm not this, then you're not gonna be that. But so anyway, that it's funny because we keep saying this dancer thing, but it really is. It was a learning experience for me, because now I'm a fucking great dancer.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, I've been telling myself I can't dance. So, but now I can,
It's how you speak to yourself is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always told, I remember when I was at med school and I was beating myself up I think I failed the first 2 exams in med school. And I was meeting with one of my professors and basically just saying how disappointed I was in myself.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what you've got to do? You've got to treat yourself like your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because your best friend, you'll always be like, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. Or I forgive you if they've messed up in some way.
Yeah.
And, but to yourself, I think you're a lot harsher on yourself.
Definitely.
And you'll be like, God, you're such a douche. Why didn't you study harder?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you just and I feel the way you speak to yourself is hugely important for confidence.
So important. It's everything. It really is.
Because you told yourself that you weren't a dancer. And then by the end, because in my mind, you're a dancer. In my mind. In your mind, you're not a dancer.
Yeah.
And exactly. I think in most people's minds, just because I've seen you dance and I know you're an amazing dancer, in most people's minds, you're a dancer, but you have a different kind of barometer for what a good dancer is, because you're in the industry.
Yeah.
But I think, it's one of those things that if you put your mind to it and you say, okay, I'm not a professionally trained dancer, but I can dance.
Right. And there's always going to be someone that's better than you, usually, right?
Yeah.
For most cases, right? So it's like even singing. Like I remember doing Broadway, my first Broadway musical. I was like, everyone's better than me, at singing. I just made it. But in terms of acting, I was like, I think I'm pretty good. So you start to kind of learn your strengths and weaknesses, your fortes and whatnot. So then, but that also comes with experience, and that's where you get real confidence too, right?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I've got 2 more questions, and then we're going to get into the best piece of advice you've ever received and your favorite book and your favorite movie. Do you think the rejection in your professional life, so in acting and so on, has helped you with any personal rejection you've had, and rejection in your personal life? You think you're better at I'm sure you've never been dumped before, but let's just say that you've been dumped.
Oh, yeah. Okay, in theory.
But do you think that professional rejection has made you better at personal rejection?
Absolutely. It's the same thing. It's all the same thing. Like I said earlier, it's like there's a girl you fancy, and it's like somehow not being returned, and then in the past I would have been bummed about it.
Yeah.
But now I really don't get bothered that much. I mean, I'm not like I don't know, Buddha, or like JC, you know. I mean, I am JC, but like
Julian Cihi.
I'm literally JC, but you know, so I do have these emotions, of course, that are good and bad, but it's all about how long you stay there, right? In that feeling of being rejected, for example, and feeling shitty.
How long you dwell on it.
How long you dwell on it is in how quickly you move on, or, you know, let it pass, however you want to describe it.
Yeah.
It, I think, is the key to happiness.
Yeah, Roger Federer was, when he did some graduation speech not that long ago, he was basically saying something crazy like, you know, if you take all the matches that he's ever played, he's only won something like 50% of his actual points.
Yeah.
And so you're losing almost 50% of the points that you play.
Right.
And it's how quickly you get over that point that you miss or you mess up on and then move on to the next one. You know, if you can get over that quickly, then you're going to be way more successful.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I personally love sports, and especially baseball and basketball. But, you know, baseball, like, I'm sure you've heard this, but like a great hitter misses 7 out of 10.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Right? Like a legendary, like lifetime, you know, if you hit over 300, then you're a legend.
Yeah.
And you've missed 7 out of the 10.
Yeah.
So when you, like Roger Federer, like when you put it that way, right, it becomes lighter.
So the quicker you get over it, the better your outcome will be eventually, I think. Okay, best and worst bits of being an actor.
Best and worst bits about being an actor. Best is personally speaking, I can forget about the past and the future and essentially just flow, right? Like be in the present, embodying someone that's not Julian and having fun with that, whether it's a comedy or drama. So yeah, just like entering that flow state, right? And acting allows that. And it's, at the end of the day, it's fun. Even if it's drama, even if, you know, people are dying everywhere, it's all pretend. It's all, I don't want to say all entertainment, but it's fun, and it should be fun. And there is an element of catharsis, for sure, that I personally like. So I would say that's the best part.
It looks fun. I saw you in Take Me Out on Broadway, and you all you chaps getting naked in that shower scene. That looked like you were having a good time.
Yeah, it was pretty cold some days.
That's the excuse. Yeah. I love it.
Let's see. The worst part is definitely not having control most of the time in you know, getting roles, getting employed, and it's and the incredible amount of rejection, I guess, that comes along with the job. But like anything, the more you do it and the longer you stick with it, good things happen.
Yeah. And good things have happened to you. I'm so impressed by all of your success, my friend.
Thanks, man. I feel like this is such a like key moment. I mean, we've known each other since college, and it's been, I don't know how many years, 15?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Almost. But like, we still got a lot of years left.
Yeah.
And
fingers crossed. I'm a few years old. I'm a couple of years older than you, but
Right. But it would be fun to see.
We'll do one in another 15 years.
Another 15 years. Yeah.
No, we'll have to do one before that because there's just so much more to talk about. We're trying to keep this to, under 35 minutes. So we'll have to have you back on.
Right. Yep.
So I do have 2 more questions for you. Favorite movie, favorite book. But actually before that, best piece of advice you've ever received, best piece of advice you've ever given. It could be the same thing.
Ooh. Well, I mean, I talked about what Kenny Leon said about auditions. I think that's pretty key. We also talked about Marcus Aurelius, our favorite Stoic. But there's another phrase that I've been sort of living by right now. And it was given to me, but also it's something that I have been, not preaching, but, telling people. It's, I walk with trust, I live in surrender, I follow what flows, and I let life surprise me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wait, where does that come from?
It comes from this. So there's this guy that I absolutely love. His name is Joe Dispenza, and he's a neuroscientist, but also has become like a guru among his followers. And read all his books. Watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and this is probably like it was like an AI kind of version of what he said, but he would say these things, right? But somehow, for me, in that moment, when I heard those four sort of phrases, one after the other, it really hit me, and I've sort of living life that way, and it's been working out great. So I try to, each thought has its meaning, and if it resonates as is, like, that's fantastic. But I walk with trust, I live in surrender, I follow what flows, and I let life surprise me.
Damn, I should have asked that question last because I just wanted to end on that. Now we're gonna have to do. We'll get to say that one more time. But okay, favorite movie, favorite book, and why?
Okay, let's start with favorite movie. This favorite movie. It's more like which one to choose, but I think I'll go with Life is Beautiful by Roberto Benigni. Have you read that?
Yeah.
Have you?
I have. Is it the one that's in Italian?
Yes.
And it's dubbed in English. Yeah. I watched it. Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
And I just watched it. I don't even remember how old I was, but when I watched it, I was so blown away by it, and it made me wanna be an actor. You know what I mean? It was just like it's such a beautiful film. It was
amazing. It's quite sad, but
very sad.
But very incredible. Sad. I remember it very vividly.
Yeah, I mean, I have tons of other like very, pivotal moments that changed my life watching a film, but that one was very significant for me. So yeah, Life is Beautiful.
Book
La Vita è Bella. Book. Oh my God, man, dude! I've been reading so many books. Like I grew up reading anime, manga, right?
Okay.
So I didn't read books. I only read books that were assigned for school.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But these days, I've been reading so many great books. I have so many. I can name so many, like Joe Dispenza's books, but I'll share. Oh my God, I can't choose. There's The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer that I have to mention. That it's like a must read. So there's that, but then there's also a Japanese book that I feel like I should share as well, because this one might not be as known. It's this book about it's called The Hidden Messages in Water Crystals. Okay. And have you heard of it?
I haven't. Did you read it in Japanese or you read it in English?
I read it in English,
okay.
Actually, but I want to read it in Japanese, the original. But it's the basic premise is this guy took water and froze it and looked with a microscope to find hexagonal crystals, and in water taken from nature, there'd be these beautiful crystals formed, whereas if it's like tap water or something like that, the crystals are deformed or non-existent. Now, he also took water and put them in two different bottles and said, "I love you" to one and "I hate you" to the other one, and then looked and froze the water and then looked at the crystals, and sure enough, they're beautiful crystals in this from the same
And
water.
this is non-fiction. This is like real experiments.
This is real. Like these are scientists. Like these are experiments that were done and recorded. And this goes true for music as well. Like I'm sure people have heard of like plants saying, you know, "I love you" to plants.
Yeah, speaking to plants.
Or playing, you know, Beethoven or Mozart to plants.
Yeah.
They grow more.
Yeah.
It's the same thing because plants need water to grow, and this book is all about water and how our bodies are comprised mostly of water, and this whole world is. So that's a book that I would recommend for everyone.
Fascinating, Julian. Okay, let's get the phrase one more time.
Okay,
and then we'll conclude.
All right. I walk with trust. I live in surrender. I follow what flows, and I let life surprise me.
Julian Cihi, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been such a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Your stories on rejection have just been so super helpful, and I'm
good.
super excited for everyone to have a listen to this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Julian Cihi.
Thanks, guys.